Good evening. First tonight, a man who lost 7 relatives to the contaminated blood scandal demands answers. Matthew Harris, who's from Northamptonshire, contracted hepatitis C from products used to treat haemophilia. A public inquiry is being held in London into the infection of thousands of people with HIV and hepatitis viruses from contaminated blood products during the 1970s and 80s. Stuart Ratcliffe is there for us now. Stuart.
Yes, Louise, around 10,000 people in the UK were given infected blood plasma, and at least 3,000 of those people have now died, and that figure could potentially be even higher. So this inquiry was set up to find out why that happened, who knew about the risks, and crucially, why has it taken so long for the victims' voices to be heard?
To have lost a wonderful husband and father from infected blood products was devastating.
This is one of the hundreds of heartbreaking stories that this inquiry has heard and continues to hear. And for Matthew Harris, it's a familiar scenario. He also contracted hepatitis C after receiving infected blood plasma, and he has come to the inquiry to get some answers.
We need to find out who was culpable, who gave the go-ahead, and why were these drugs administered when they knew that they were contaminated, which people did know that they were contaminated, but they were still dished out to patients.
And that plasma given to haemophiliacs in the UK came from America, often taken from prisoners, many of whom were drug users. And when imported into the UK, that plasma wasn't tested.
I thought my scenario was bad, but some of the others are just mind-bogglingly harrowing, and it's shocking, it really is. And I shall walk away today drained emotionally and mentally, because it's really, well, there's no words to explain it.
Matthew is now clear of Hep C, but had to fight to receive his life-saving medication because he was said not to have been ill enough.
It was a definite struggle, and it's also a struggle for my family, what they've seen me go through, and how ill it has made me during the medication and after the medication. And it's also been difficult for my family too, seeing them in a state of illness and how it's deteriorated them, and it's finally taken them from us, and it breaks my heart.
So ultimately, what is it that you want? Do you want people brought to justice? Do you want an apology? Do you want compensation? What is it?
So I want justice for them as well. Obviously financial justice won't do anything for them, but an apology, and to find out who was the main culprit, whether it was our consultants or government ministers.
But those answers won't be delivered soon, because this inquiry into the biggest scandal in NHS history is not due to finish until the summer of 2021. And the frightening fact is that whilst this inquiry is still going on, 3 people every month are dying because of receiving contaminated blood products. That's a lot of people who will never find out who knew what about this scandal. Louise.
Thanks, Stuart.